it could be the internet, but it's a
It's
little
not good.
crackly.
Oh, that's not good.
It's kind of tinny. Yeah.
Oh, how's that? We'll make it
A
work.
little better. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this tent of Speakeasy. My name's Sareth Ney, and this is a secret society of stand-up comics, and they're going to all be performing at Sareth Fest, Daytona Beach. And I can't wait to introduce you to my buddy Roy Sheppard. Hey, Roy, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Great, thank you. Sorry about the audio on my end. I think I'm just a mess.
Aren't we all?
We are. So you're an actor, editor, comic, and storyteller, which is pretty rad, dude. So what got you into all
Yeah.
those fields?
Um, well, I started out doing just a little bit of voice acting as to kind of explore that. I've always been interested in film and cinema, but I didn't go to school for that or anything like. So it's just kind of a later in life decided to pursue my passion sort of thing. And then from the voice acting thing, I'd also been thinking about doing stand up comedy. I ended up trying that and just falling in love with it. So that's kind of become my main focus now. Not really, just kind of, just kind of decided I wanted to try it.
Indeed. You're killing it out there, dude. So you're on the right track.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been a lot of fun so far. And I'm really looking forward to this week, actually.
Oh yeah,
It's going to
dude.
be a lot of fun.
We got a lot of things cooking up, dude. It's pretty exciting.
We
Yeah,
got the
that's
big
gonna
old,
go
we got
ahead.
the big old event coming up this week.
I know. Wednesday through Saturday, 10 o'clock on Wednesday, 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. on Friday, Thursday, Saturday, Friday and Saturday. I'm all getting all, but it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be. I can't wait to party with everyone and you all network with people that you've never seen before, possibly. But well, maybe have. I don't know. But it's gonna be pretty neat.
Probably, yeah, it would probably be a good mix of people that we've worked with before, or that I've worked with before, and new faces. To excited to see it all, see what else, what everybody's got,
Indeed, for sure. I can't wait to see the open micers and have them try out too, because you never know who's gonna show up. If Dave Chappelle
Are
shows
you
up,
doing it? Yeah, Dave Chappelle is going to be there. Is that what you're saying? You heard it here live.
wishful,
Uh, what's that?
wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking. Yeah,
Yep. And
yeah. Are you doing an open mic after each of the shows, or is that just on Wednesday night?
yep, Wednesday night is gonna be all open mic.
Hmm.
Thursday after the 10 p.m. block, and Friday too. But everyone has to sign up like at the 9 o'clock hour or after the 8 p.m.
Hmm.
show. So that way they get first dibs. Cause like I don't know, it's gonna be a dope, fun time. I think so.
I like that we have the same color scheme on our hats
Oh
today.
yeah, I
That
love your
feels
hat,
cool.
by the way.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much. By the way, appreciate it. It's been my
Yeah,
favorite hat since you gave it to me.
cool. Shout out to Jill Carlson out in Cortez, Colorado, for hooking
Hmm.
me up. And I'm like, I know a perfect guy that wears those hats, and his name's Roy Sheppard. So
I do feel a little bit bad because I replaced the other hat that I was wearing, which I also love. It was given to me by Eric Erlacher. Um, but I can only wear one hat at a time, so I just gotta pick, and this is the newest one.
indeed,
Maybe I can start a bidding war between the two of you. You each keep giving me hats, and I'll just keep swapping, and then I'll just have the giant collection of hats to choose from, or something.
you can stack them up to like Mario or something.
Hmm.
Yep.
I'll just
Indeed.
yeah, I'll just start wearing like 10 hats to a to a show.
Yeah. It'll be your trademark. So
Yeah, yeah. The hats guy, not just the hat guy, the hats guy.
the hats guy. Indeed. So yeah, you're a filmmaker, and so you made a 20-minute straight to VHS feature, Kingdom of the Dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah.
Legos, and you're starring Java, your family cat, that received
That's right.
rave reviews from the handful of friends and family that saw it. So what was the
So I
filming
guess
process was like?
well, I guess I have to first of all I have to amend my previous statement that cuz I kind of sometimes I forget about that, and I did start making films, just home movies in high school. So for Kingdom of the Dinosaurs specifically, it's a lost film, and I say that because it was on VHS, and at some point over the years, my mom must have accidentally thrown it out or taped over it or something. So it's gone. Can never watch it again, which makes me sad, but that's just how it goes. But so the filmmaking process, I'm sorry, I think I went off on a tangent.
No, you're
You
fine.
said
Yeah.
so like how I made it, is that what you're yeah. Um so I used Legos, and we had like an old, this would have been like this would have been like early 2000s, I guess. We had like an old camera that just recorded on like the mini VHS tapes or whatever. So I filmed all the scenes there, and then I had to hook the camera up to the VCR that we had, and I would have to queue up like which scene I wanted to record, and then I would play it into the VCR and record it onto the VHS tape. So it was just straight like that. The editing process was basically just recording each scene off of the camera one at a time. So there's like lots of moments in there where it's like the timing's not quite right because the technology's not, that I had access to anyway, it wasn't exact. So there'd be like little cuts, or like little, like the static or whatever. There'd be like little bits of static in between some of the shots, and there was like old footage on the VHS before. So there was like a point where I think my family had recorded something that my sister was in, like a play or something like that. So there's like a bunch of kids up on stage, like singing a song that's like behind. And so like in between two scenes, there's like a 3-second clip, or not quite that long maybe, but there's just like a quick like shot of like a church stage with a bunch of kids singing. And then it goes back into like my thing because I just messed up the timing. But it made it for a very funny moment because it just pops up, goes away, and there's just what was, so I think it took me 3 days to film the whole thing and then put it onto VHS. And then I just showed it to friends and would sit around and laugh at it because it's just my hands in all the shots, like holding the Legos, and then me and my sister doing voices but it was a lot of fun. And whether people are laughing with it or at it, like everybody's having a good time. So that's really all I cared about.
Oh yeah, dude. That's rad. I
Wish I
my
still
Go
go ahead.
ahead. Oh, so now I guess you can say it's in the land of the lost.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah, it's just one of those lost pieces of art, it'll never be back.
for sure.
Maybe one day I can remake the film, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of remakes, so we'll see.
Same here. Indeed. Awesome. It reminds me of like the first time I ever made my short film was like the narcoleptics. And so
Mm-hmm.
like we used the mini DV tapes too. And we could rewind on the camcorder, and so we recorded over stuff we didn't need anymore. And so a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things are just weird and wonky, but we won the award for best film to watch while stoned. So it's on YouTube, so if you
Nice.
want to watch it, yeah.
Oh
You're
yeah,
more than
yeah.
welcome to. So it's
Shoot me
horrible.
that link or something.
Absolutely.
I forgot about this part actually. So to do a soundtrack, I didn't have any way of putting audio onto like the VHS tape. So I would just play whatever music I wanted off of our house like stereo system, and I just cranked the volume way up, and then would record it while filming onto the camera basically to get that audio.
Oh yeah,
Another
dude.
little trick out there for any DIY people that
Awesome. Sweet. Yeah, you that's pretty rad. I put the production notes in the description box below in the YouTube the narcoleptic, so you'll see what the
okay.
process too. So it's all those movie magic. It really happens, especially if you're on a low budget and and we
Mm-hmm.
had like $25 to make our movie, but none of it went to production, so it made for free. So it's
Yeah,
horrible.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
you got to get creative when you don't have a budget.
Absolutely. And the magic happens. It's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you do role playing and acting, and you mentioned acting earlier, but role playing sounds pretty naughty. So, but oh
Yeah,
man,
I do. I list myself as a dungeon master for Dungeons and Dragons, but it's kind of funny to call myself a dungeon master because it has that connotation in, I think, a wider understanding. Uh, but yeah, that's probably my biggest hobby is Dungeons and Dragons and other kind of role playing games. Mostly D&D though.
Awesome. Yeah, do you get together with all the other comics that play D&D and
We
play?
have an idea for doing something like that, but it's hard to schedule. I mean, it's hard enough for me to schedule and even play with my non-comic friends because of my schedule. Just nighttime is when comics are doing all their stuff, and that's when normal people are not. That's when they're playing games and stuff like that, or hanging out with each other. So, like, I haven't even played in my regular game that I'm supposed to be a part of for like months. Um,
Cool.
but I think it would be a lot of fun at one point to get a bunch of comics together, or just generally, funny people, um, storyteller style people, even to get together and sit down and play a game. Because I think when you really get into the story, the role playing, the interacting with each other, and building this immersive story, I think it could really be a ton of fun with just a bunch of crazy comics.
Indeed. Yeah, like Kevin and Matt Elliott and all those guys and
Hmm.
Christian, they all get together and play. But I'm like, yeah, like at nighttime. So, but like we're like regular comics, and so we got to do those mics and put those reps in and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, it's all about Tetris. You got a piece of schedule
Yeah,
everything.
it does feel
So,
like a puzzle most of the time, and trying to figure out like when can I do normal things with people.
indeed,
But
that's why we had to
have you ever
schedule
played
our.
Dungeons and Dragons?
I have not. No, I can't say that I have. But I hear it's
Mm.
pretty fun though. I mean, I
Oh
know about
yeah,
the
yeah.
die and everything like that, and they have
Hmm.
like all the places you can play in public and stuff. So like the game
Hmm.
rooms, and they're everywhere.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
indeed. But in
What were
due
you about to
time,
ask?
when I get older, I'll play some Dungeons and Dragons with you.
Hell yeah,
Yep, indeed. So yeah,
I'll be your
you've been.
first dungeon master.
Oh yeah,
Maybe,
I.
I don't know. Maybe you had a dungeon master before. I don't know.
Yeah, you just had it involved with like a mouth a ball gag and so.
Yeah, yeah. We bring props to our game.
Yeah, good stuff. Awesome. If it was a long time ago in West Hollywood, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A long time ago in a basement far, far away.
Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, it's like a. But yeah, you since 2004 you've been playing. That's pretty wild. So you know your way around the dungeons and stuff. So
I do, yeah, yeah. We actually started with my first game that I ever played was the Star Wars role playing game in college, and quickly moved into Dungeons and Dragons from there. But been playing it uh, before the pandemic. I had a game that I was running where we met almost every single week for like 5 years.
wow,
Um, yeah, and then that COVID kind of messed all that up, and we went online. And then I just now that I'm doing comedy and other stuff, I just don't have as much time for it as I'd like.
indeed. You also played Warhammer. What's that game about?
So I don't play the tabletop game, which is it's like a miniature game. It's like a war game simulator. So people build armies and they get together at game stores and they'll have like battles and it's really fun. It's complicated. It takes a lot of time, and it's also very expensive to get into the tabletop game because you got to buy all these little miniatures and paint them and do all this stuff. But it looks really awesome, and it's a super fun game. Like, it looks really awesome once you get all your pieces put together, and then you got like little guys with your color palette like running across the field. But I play the version that I play is just like the online RTS Warhammer. So it's kind of similar to like the old Warcraft games, if you before like the MMO. And so I just enjoy it because it's fantasy, which is my biggest, I guess, interest in stories genre. Um, and because Lord of the Rings, it's kind of similar to that. So I just enjoy playing that game because it's single player. I can play it whenever I want to, as opposed to D&D or tabletop RPGs or war game stuff.
Indeed. Oh, good old WoW.
Mm-hmm.
And yep, my buddy used to play that all the time, and so I would I would say, what if you mix adult material with WoW and Clock Baltica Wow Wow.
I'm pretty sure they have websites for that. Rule 34 applies, I'm sure.
I oh man, good stuff. Good
You
stuff.
can find, and that's the thing too, is like when you play role playing games, like tabletop role playing games, uh, depending on the group that you have and what you guys are into, you can mix the two. Like you can get as wild as you want to.
Indeed, a wild like a wild Roy. Am I right?
Mhm.
That's Roy's Instagram handle, by the way.
A wild run, yeah, yeah. I always thought people would understand it as more of a Pokemon reference. Like a Wild Roy has appeared, but it doesn't get any of that.
Yep, as Asian as I am, I'm not. I don't know much about Pokemon, so I'm just like, I'm like the.
Mm.
I need to get in touch with my Asian roots, but there's just so much going on with dragons and dungeons and Pokemon's
Yeah,
anime.
you kind of just have to pick like a couple things and focus on those because I mean, well, it depends on what you want, but there's just so much stuff out there. I can't keep up with everything
Me
as much as
neither.
I'd like to.
Yep. That's why we live in the current. And currently, you're a stand-up comic, and you write. You
Hmm.
on a weekly basis, you write and produce comic sketches with your fellow local comics, which is pretty awesome. I saw the Bomb Squad on your pinned Instagram, so that's pretty neat. Are you still working on it?
I am. It's been on hiatus, post production hiatus for a number of months at this point. I think we finished filming in January of this year, and then I finished the initial editing like in March, and then uh, what ended up happening is I wasn't super happy with how the final edit looks and feels in a couple of the scenes. And so recently, Tim, who's like my partner in this, and I had a conversation, and I was talking about that specifically, is because the opening scene and the closing scene are kind of bookending the episode and what's happening there. But we only had one night to film that shot because one of the guys who was playing the characters was moving the next day, like across the country. And so I only got one static shot, and I can't do any like edits back and forth because that's it. There's no multi-angle or anything like that, and so I feel like the scenes kind of they feel a little bit flat because there's no movement. There's no, like, from the camera. There's no momentum or energy coming from that to build into it. And so Tim and I had an idea. It was probably it's mostly his idea to add some additional scenes in there, which will help cut up what's happening a little bit. And I think that I'm kind of excited about that. So we'd have to reshoot some stuff. So we're kind of that's kind of where it's at, is considering doing that or just finishing it as is.
Yes,
But
someone
yeah, it's been a long it's been long process.
for sure. As someone that's been compared to the Cambodian Cartman, I gotta say, damn it, Kyle.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, that's why though. Like when it comes to this, I just prefer the live stream like interviews because like
Hmm.
I don't like editing. Like it just takes a
Yeah,
long time. I'm just gonna be like,
I
yeah, let's just go
I
for it.
do enjoy. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm like, just let's just go for it. Like just
Hmm.
live stream it straight to like 3 channels and I'm done with them. So
Hmm. Yeah, I actually do enjoy the editing process, because it's like a puzzle for me in a way of like I know what I was kind of initially imagining, how I wanted it to come out, and then once I get to the actual cutting, um, you see things that you didn't see before, and you find ways to kind of like pair things together in like a slightly different way that kind of changes what you initially had thought about the scene. And so it's fun to find ways, like find things like that, especially if it like really improves what you're trying to do in that particular shot. But to your point, it is a ton of work, and it'd be nice to just be able to shoot and be done.
Yeah, for sure. We got some viewers in the audience, so if you'd
So
like to
I
interact
need
with the
to.
chat,
I need.
oh, go ahead.
What were you saying?
Oh, we got some viewers in the chats or like watching. So if you want to interact with us, but be nice to us. There it
Oh
is.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How do I see that? Is there a
There's something in where it says comments. It's like the top one,
uh
I think, and then we'll just it just pops up whenever they say something.
okay.
Yeah. So this is like the virtual kill Tony, but nobody does material and get critiqued. Oh man.
Nobody. Well, hopefully, yeah. Hopefully, I don't get booted off stage like some people do.
Right. Oh man. And the instrumentals and everything. One
hmm
day I hope to be on that show. That'd be pretty rad. Like I really want to go on tour in February from like here
hmm
to Austin and do the Bible Belt. So we'll see what happens.
Hell
But
yeah.
saving up after Strathfest and just going
hmm
on tour. So I need to get that in me again. I just love going on tour. It's so much fun.
You kind of did something similar last year, right? You had Sareth Fest, and then a couple months later, you did a little tour around Florida, right?
Yeah, I did.
Mhm.
I did the open mic tour. I did. It's called the Mike Nights Tour documentary, and I just
Mm.
like interviewed everyone. But yeah, it was like a lot of fun. I'm like, I miss that. Like, I want to go and do other open mics and do shows. I got connections all the way from here to Austin, so it'll make like three
Yeah,
hour
yeah. You
drive
can
to each stop. So
string through a lot of stuff going along out there. Yeah,
yeah, man,
yeah.
can't wait.
That would be a lot of fun. I I haven't been on a road trip in a long time, but that's one of my favorite. Just being, I don't know, just being out on the road, going from place to place, seeing something different every day. There's something very enjoyable about that to me.
Indeed, seeing all those Pilot gas stations and those Bucky gas stations and the Loves
hmm
and everything
Loves
else
travel
is
stops, flying J's, all that. Yeah.
yeah.
That's what, when I was on my road trip, I slept in a Love's travel, like a parking lot at a Love's for the majority of different ones just going along um, all around the country. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Hell yeah, dude. That's the way to go. And
It's
rest
pretty safe.
areas.
Pretty safe place to sleep. So you just crawl up in the back of your car. You're good. They got
Very good.
security, all that. It's fine.
Indeed. And yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna go with my best friend Sean Beeman, and he's gonna document it all. And because he's been on tour with bands, I'm like that'd be cool. And so hopefully I can bring a comic with me too. That'd be nice. But
hmm
we'll see what happens. Indeed. But yeah, that's my goal for like 2024. I need to
Okay.
put some of my cosigns to good use so I can get booked everywhere. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
2024
Yeah, dude. I was
Sareth
like,
on
I was
tour.
watching one of your pinned. Yeah. I need to make the most out of this since I'm off
Oh,
hiatus
one
now.
of
So
the
we'll see.
one of the reels. What
Yeah,
were you
you
saying?
got like
You were watching
10,000.
something that was
You got oh yeah, the pinned one of your pinned setups, stand up sets. Yeah, the one next to the bomb squad. And it was just like yeah, like 10,000 plus like likes on it. I was like, good lord! And so I shared that as a story and
Oh,
picture in the video.
yeah. That one kind of blew up. I mean, it's cool. It got like a bunch of views, a bunch of likes, but it's just a reel. I don't get paid for it or anything, so it's whatever. I'm glad that many people liked it. Like that feels really awesome that many people enjoyed that joke. Um, so
It's well,
that's what I get out of it.
yeah, it's well crafted and it's fantastic. So
It didn't hit as hard last night when I did that joke though, but
oh,
it was still good. But it just it was one of those. I don't know. I think I delivered it wrong or something. It's one of
indeed,
my favorites though.
it's all about delivery.
Always, yeah, yeah. That joke always gets the room's attention because of the subject matter, um, which I think is probably what because of the title of that clip is kind of clickbaity. I think that's what got it so much attention. Which I didn't really even think about that when I made the title. I was just trying to make like a simple title. This is what the joke is about,
Indeed.
and dancing around it.
It's all about delivering, or else it'll be DiGiorno. So,
Hmm.
yeah, awesome,
Oh,
good
that's what
stuff.
yeah, that's maybe I could do that as like if a joke bombs, you could just be like, oh, sorry, it wasn't the delivery, it was DiGiorno.
Yeah. Oh man, like whenever I bomb, whenever I bomb, I say,
It's
"Oh man,
terrible.
yeah, it's horrible, but it's funny though." You can have that one. I won't mind.
I don't think I'm gonna. I'll whoever wants to claim that in the chat can take that one. You
Well,
try that one
so
at an open mic and report back on the next episode.
yeah, we can both use it because it goes with my Ninja Turtle style. So,
Mm.
oh, pizza. Oh man. So, yep. So I'm so I'm proud of you, dude. Like you're just everywhere, like doing shows everywhere. It's like we were just Daytona Comics for a little while, and then pow, it was just awesome. We just blew
I
up.
think
Yeah,
I think most people would still call me a Daytona comic. I can't imagine anyone would think elsewise. But no, it's a lot of fun. It's trying to get out to other cities and meet other comics and get to do their shows and check out the open mics and see what the different scenes are like, because there's a lot going on all around Florida, and not there's some fun stuff in Daytona, but not a lot. um, so really, like, even as Daytona comics, like, if you really want to try to make any sort of progress, you have to leave, you have to get out of town and hit other mics, try to get on other shows, meet other people. Like, you can't really, there's no path. Like, I mean, and that's true anywhere. Like, you have to, wherever you live, like, unless you're in LA or Austin or New York, like, you're gonna have to travel around at some. I mean, even if you live there, you're gonna have to go on the road at some point. But it's a
100%,
fun
and
fun journey for sure.
it really is. Like I just got back from Colorado, and I
Hmm.
did the High Plains Comedy Festival open mic, and then I did Oscar Blues. It's a brewery down, like you go downstairs, and it's so cool. It's like it reminds me of like just those underground like comedy clubs, and it
Hmm.
was like
You're going
perfect
down into a
ambience.
basement.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
then
What's the
like all
room? What's the room set?
oh, it was beautiful. It was like there was a stage, and there's like a limited seating. All the TVs were out of view. All this, it was just everyone was super focused on you. And I remember like I signed up last because I didn't know the list dropped, and so I was like fortunate to be like the last one on the list. But one of the comics wasn't in the like in present in the room, and I introduced myself to the host before the show, and then he goes, "Hey, Sareth, are you ready? Because I can't find the guy." I'm like, "Yeah, let me start my camera, and then we'll just and see what happens." And then I just like stumbled at first, and then once you like get your feet under you and you
Hmm.
got it, it's like, man,
You
like
got into that rhythm.
yeah, I got into that rhythm, and it was just perfect. And like I didn't expect like an applause break after my Marilyn Manson puns, and like the whole crowd just went bonkers. It was just like,
Hell
all
yeah.
right. And then I went right into my glory holes story, and like everyone was on board. So it was great. And then I did Vultures, which is pretty awesome too. Like they had like a music open mic in the beginning, and then they
Hmm.
had a comedy open mic at the end. So that way it didn't ruin the energy, and it was like the Falcon, but everything was separated in art forms, and it was just
Okay.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like at the Falcon, you just don't want to follow a musician because then like they're
Right.
storyteller. You just got to keep that energy flowing the way it's supposed to be. But yeah, it was like
Yeah, and you
perfect
never
setup.
and you never know when the musician is going to get jumped into, or put into that lineup. So
Hmm.
it's always just a crapshoot when you sign up on there. It's like, all right. I think the trick is to, like, not be like the fourth person in line, like in a group.
Yep.
So it's like, don't pick any multiples of four, or whatever. I don't know. I'm just making something up. Um, but no, it feels like, because it's like, I think the musical acts get like about 10 minutes, so it's like 15. I think it's usually like a 15 ish, if maybe 20 of comedy, and then a musical. It depends on how many musical acts show up, but yeah, don't follow a musician on an open mic.
Yeah. Oh man, one time like I went to the Falcon, and they had like a full band setup, and it pushed everyone back like 15 minutes. I was like, ah, and some people got bumped. I'm like, jam the band, just go acoustic. You don't have to bring out the drum kits or nothing. Just like it was a bit
They gotta
much.
tune all their instruments and stuff before, you know?
Yep. And that's why, like, when I do my festival, like, I have everything separated. Like, I just have all the musicians play in the beginning, and then we have the comedians at nighttime at the
Mm.
Colorado one. It's just easier.
So the comedy starts at 8 on Thursday, is that right?
Yep, 10 o'clock on Wednesday, 8 o'clock, and
8
10.
o'clock?
Yep, and yep, 8 o'clock, and
Are
then
you having musical acts on this week as well, or is it just comedy?
just Saturday night at 10 o'clock. It's gonna be John
Saturday,
Porter.
okay.
Yeah, he's gonna do 10 minutes of music and one-liners. Then we got King Hooker, Scott Hooker,
Mm-hmm.
doing 30 minutes. We got Sam Ivy doing 30 minutes, and we
Mm-hmm.
got our non-regular Ryder Cole doing 30 minutes, closing out the show. So
Okay.
we
I
end
don't think
right
I've
at
seen you said go ahead.
yeah, we end right at 11:55 because I didn't want to go over midnight, and then we just
Right, right.
wrap it up. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
Saturday's gonna be a pretty awesome show. I'll probably be there. I might be there late because I got to work at the other spot.
Madcaps.
Yeah, yeah. I got to work at Madcaps on. I don't know if you. I don't know how you felt about saying other venues' names on the show,
Oh
so I
no,
just didn't want to.
I got
But yeah,
love
I got to
for
work at
Madcaps.
Madcaps Saturday
Yeah,
night.
awesome. Yeah,
What's that?
I got love from Madcaps and Adam, so we're good. Yep. And everyone shouts out there where they're performing at the end anyway, so it's like it's we show love to everyone. Except for if they disrespect us, like we
Yeah,
won't go
yeah.
into that, uh, but yeah, it's like, how do you get banned? So it's like, I don't know. Oh man,
I can tell you, I was there, but we
yeah,
could talk about that off camera.
yep, absolutely. But yeah, like I was like traveling with Rob Roick, and like
Hmm.
we were driving to Melbourne for like Jimmy's roast going away show
Hmm.
and stuff, and I we're like, out of all the people that I've met, like you and Rob Roick are the two people that I love traveling with. Like, you guys
Oh, thank you.
make the drive easy and like super chill, and like it doesn't feel like 2 hours driving to Melbourne or like
Hmm.
an hour and a half to like wherever. It's just like you just make it the drive so relaxing. It's great, less stress.
Hmm.
But yeah, you're one of the
That's
best, dude.
Oh, thank you. All right. I don't know. That seems a little bit too kind, but I'll appreciate it.
Indeed.
Um, no, it is kind of amazing how quickly that time because we did me and Patrick Luby did the Palaka show that Andre runs last month, and so we drove out together. And the drive is about an hour, I think, from my house to the venue, but it went by like 20 it felt like 20 minutes had passed and we were there because we were just having so much fun on the drive, and the same thing on the way back. And that's yeah, it's like when you got to find a good excuse me got to find a good travel buddy because that just makes everything like you're just saying just the travel part zips by, and then you have a great time there, and you have a great time on the way back. It's just all right, it's good.
And yeah,
I don't know, I
I
don't have
usually
a
get I usually get to the show like at least a half an hour before like we start, and so we can get our mind right and get into the zone. And it's like it's just I don't know. I just love traveling with you guys. Like I used to travel with Zach Bennett, and that was a whole lot of fun. And so yeah, it's just gotta
hmm
who you can
oh, I
vibe with
bet,
the
yeah.
best. Yeah, it's just awesome. Yeah,
Hmm.
good stuff. So Roy, you also
Yeah, yeah,
you,
because you got if you pick the wrong. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, you go ahead. Yeah, if you pick the wrong travel buddy, that's what you were
Oh,
saying.
I was just gonna say because if you pick the wrong person to travel with, it's gonna be a very long ride. You know,
Yeah, and like that's what I did was like
that
I
1 hour is
experiment.
gonna feel like two.
Yeah, I've experimented with like everyone else. I'm like, you know what? Sometimes this doesn't fit. Sometimes like I don't want to mention his name, but I'll tell you after like off the record. Like we
Yeah,
would travel together, but then like he would leave me just to go knock boots, and then I would get stranded.
wait. So you would go to you would like leave town. You would go out of town,
Mhm.
and while you were somewhere at a show, or what? Like you go to open, like where would you be?
I'd be in Daytona at like Bel Air Lanes when they had the mics, or at the Nog, and then
Okay, so you get a ride up to like the mic, and then
mhm,
this guy disappears and just leaves you there.
just to hook up. And I'm like, I'm stranded here. Like, we can't do this anymore. It was like the worst. But he's a good friend of mine. But I'll tell you who it is right after we go off
Sure,
air.
sure, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're like, no
How
way.
did
I'm like, yeah, it was. Yes.
it's like I was up with a couple friends at a mic. This is why I don't know. This might have been about 6 months ago. And after the three of us had gone up, a girl walked up to one of my friends, and was asking him like if he was had a place in town or a hotel or something. You know, it was like very, very direct. Um, and she had a friend, but there were three of us, and so I was just like, please don't like, who like whatever's happened, don't strand us, whoever,
Yeah.
don't, because I don't, because like, that would be so awkward because like we're out of town and we don't have any, so we don't have anywhere. We're just driving back. So if that guy or one of the others had decided, we're just going to be sitting around at this venue for a while or outside some, in like a hotel lobby, just like, all right, are they done yet? Can we go home?
Yeah. And it happened to me like more than once, and I had to ride back with like comics from Jacksonville to come home. I'm like, this is the worst. So and that's why I just like sometimes drive alone, or like I don't know, just find a way to work something out. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it is what it is. It happens. Some guys just think with you know other things, but yeah, when you're in your spare time, you enjoy practicing photography with your trusty Rebel T3i, and that's what I use too.
All right.
It must be in really old bio, I'm guessing.
No, it's just like, you write copy in a certain way on the internet because it's meant to, attract potential clients and present a certain way, but it sounds silly as hell when you read it out loud,
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I love practicing, because I would never say that like in conversation to, it's like, oh, what do you do? I love practicing photography with my trusty Rebel T3i. Like, it's just, so it's like hearing it, I'm just like, oh, this sounds terrible.
Indeed.
But that's how you have to write stuff for the internet. But yeah, I do enjoy taking pictures. I don't really take my camera out to shows because like now it's like my camera on my phone is a better camera than what I actually have as, the Rebel. I think basically. So I guess I just like taking photos. I should update it. I like taking photos of my trusty iPhone 13 Max.
Good stuff. Oh man. But yeah, and you record and edit from your home studio in sunny Florida. And so
Mhm.
how long have you been editing and stuff in your home in sunny Florida?
I'm just gonna read the whole thing.
Yeah.
I started doing the editing in the beginning of 2021, I think, because I'd started doing voice acting during the pandemic. I'd started practicing and auditioning for things, and so I'd put together like behind me, I've got, behind that green screen, I have like a voiceover booth, um, and I recorded there. And what I was thinking as I was doing that is, I was learning how to edit my own takes and stuff like that, just like a little bit. And I thought, well, I've got all this equipment or like software, I may as well, try to edit for other people too. I was like, why not? So I started working on audio editing and taught myself and, learned from there and just worked my way up. And so I do podcast editing and a little bit of music mixing here and there, but that's more like hobby level than professional.
For sure. Good stuff. And and I know the next part's a sensitive subject because of your cats, and they were your
Oh
audio
yeah.
and engineer cats, and we love them even, and I'm glad that you use them to like be part of your act, like your joke.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
uh, yeah.
If you haven't seen Roy talk about his cats on stage, uh, It's the best. But we won't spoil it. But we love your cats. So
It would be a real hard that the content of that joke would be a hard left turn from this very pleasant conversation we've been having so far.
indeed,
Take it into a gross direction. Uh,
indeed.
but yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, I don't think I don't think I put on my website that they're dead because I don't really feel like that's necessary to just put on there. That'd be weird. Um, but yeah, they were little sweet little cats. Loved them. Aces and deuces. Shout out.
Aces and deuces. Rest in peace. We love you, cats. All cats go to heaven too. So
So they
awesome.
say.
So they say. Unless they're mean, we don't know where they go. But yeah, and so yeah, you got pictures of like the Moon Room and Madcaps and Beachside Retro and
Hmm.
the Nog and the Historic Longwood Bar and Abbey Bar. Pretty much like, gosh, that's Melbourne, that's New Smyrna Beach, that's Satellite Beach, that's Daytona
Hmm.
Beach, Longwood, and DeLand. You are everywhere, dude. That's pretty awesome. And we were just pretty impressive for like the short
A
amount
lot
of
of
time we've been
places.
together.
A
Yeah.
lot of places in Central Florida. I probably should update some of those pictures because I probably have some more recent pictures from other spots. I don't think I have anything for Jacksonville on there. But I love going up to Jacksonville, doing mics up there, and occasionally show up in Jacksonville. I haven't done a lot of shows in Jacksonville, but
Hmm.
would love to. It's my hometown, so.
Yeah. You can draw a lot of people out. Just tell them can bring a lot of cheeks in.
Well, I don't think I have I'm not one of those people that has the hometown draw because I've not lived there since high school.
Uh,
And yeah. So I don't. I've got like some old friends that live in town, so I might be able to bring 3 people.
that's that's still pretty good. So.
It's like I could tell. I do have a lot of family that lives in Jacksonville, and I could bring probably a lot of them, but then they won't come to another one of my shows, and they might not talk to me at Thanksgiving. I don't know.
Oh, for sure. Indeed. Well, I feel your pain on that one. They just
Mm,
love my dirty stuff, so it's like
yeah.
it
I'm assuming
happens.
that have your parents ever seen any of your bits?
Yeah, they've seen like a lot of them like online. But
Mm.
they saw me perform live once in person. Like we just don't get this, but we'll support you. You know,
Yeah.
like I saw they saw me perform at Jackie Knight's, and I brought my room divider on stage, and like halfway through, I dressed up as Wu Manchu, and Jackie Knight was freaking out. It's like, what the hell is he doing? And like, is at her old club at the very first one of the first locations. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, but I don't know. I took it seriously, and I just like tell straight up jokes, so it's just not bad.
Yeah,
Good
I
stuff.
haven't done a Jackie Knight's room yet. I think
Yeah,
they're
I
up in
don't.
like Palm Coast area. Is that where they're?
Amici's or Avicii's in
It doesn't matter.
St. Augustine. Yeah, I don't want to do that neighborhood because
Okay,
like
yeah.
they serve fine restaurant food like Italian, and I'm like,
Ooh.
I mean, I do like 10 good
Tell
minutes.
my. Hmm.
I just do 10 good minutes and then clean jokes. You don't want me to do my 20, 30 dirty jokes, so 30 minutes of dirty jokes. It gets
Should
bad.
definitely do my. Should definitely do my dead cat joke while I'm in that. While everybody's trying to eat.
Yeah, that's not veal, that's cat.
Yeah.
Oh man. So, Roy, this is the next part is the usual questions that I ask all the comics. So, that being said, what inspired you to perform stand up comedy?
What inspired me to stand up? Well, okay, so it's kind of the short version is the pandemic. That's the short answer. The long form version, I guess, is that I had a lot of things happen that year. Um, that some family stuff, and then some like personal slash professional stuff that was going on during the pandemic. That I just because of the shutdown, I had like a lot of time to kind of think about just everything, like what I was doing with my life and everything. And I decided that I was pretty unhappy and I wanted to do other things. Wanted to try to, you know, go after things that I thought I was going to enjoy, that I would have passion to about. And um and so stand up was kind of when I was thinking, because I like film, I like TV, storytelling, and things like that. And played a lot of, like I said, role playing games and stuff where you're improving as a part of the thing. And so stand up seemed like something that was, adjacent to that, with like no barrier to entry. It's like anybody can go to an open mic and try it out. Um, and then I pretty much instantly just fell in love with it. And so that became like the number one thing. When it was originally, I was just thinking I would do this for fun, and I would just use it as like additional experience with like feeling more comfortable on a microphone, like for voice acting or for just whatever. And then it just became the only thing I wanted to.
Indeed.
Which I think that's kind of similar for a lot of comics. Not like the whole backstory, but just the idea that once you start it, you get hooked, and then it's the only thing that you want to do.
Indeed, most definitely. That's what I've been doing for like 8 years consistently. It's just a
Hmm.
it's a joy. I don't know. You gotta
Hmm.
look at it that way. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I can't. I like now. It's like I'm not a professional comedian or anything, but I'm making a little progress here and there. But I can't imagine like ever stopping. Uh, it's just too much fun.
yep, absolutely. And what was the feeling like when you first performed stand up?
So the first time I ever performed, what it was like, it was at the Nog. I'm pretty sure you were there because you were closing out every week and DJing at the time. And I had two friends of mine that came to the show because before I had I had gone to the Nog like for 3 weeks in a row just to like watch and like kind of see what the vibe was like, see what like in it, because I'd never been to an open mic before, and just see what was going on. So my friends knew that I had been like working on a set, and I had been preparing like 5 minutes of jokes, and they knew. And so I like finally I was like, all right, this is gonna be the day. I'm gonna go up and try it today. And so my friends came out, and it's like it's nerve wracking the first time you go in there. There's a list, like you've watched all these people, and then, there's a lot of funny people at the Nog that were coming consistently at that time. So like for 3 weeks in a row, I'm just watching like a bunch of funny people, and you see like the list, and you see all these names, and you just got to pick a spot, and then you're just sitting around waiting, and it's like your friends are there, you've got this thing prepped, you're going over it in your head, and then you get up there. It feels like you're up there forever until that light shows up, and then it's finally over, and there's just a rush because like I had um, a couple of jokes that got a decent response on that first mic, and so it wasn't like a complete bomb. Like it wasn't a great set by any means, but it wasn't terrible. So it was fun. So I didn't have to deal with that like initial shock that some people get. Like mine came like 3 weeks later, I think, when I got like a real bad, like the actual like true bomb. Um, but yeah, like in that initial, there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of nerves, and but ultimately just a ton of fun. And over the next couple of weeks, being kind of welcomed into the, because it's like sometimes people just come out, they go up, they never show up again. So it's like after I showed up a couple times in a row, started to meet everybody and get accepted into the Daytona scene, and now I'm going off topic, but
You're totally fine. It's our scene is like one of the best scenes in Florida. Like whenever we get into like a some drama, we squash it. But it depends on who it is. and then like we handle
Yeah, up
our
until recent times.
but it is what it is. But like, and I love like the Melbourne scene. We're just like so a lot
Mhm.
alike, but for the
Yeah.
most part,
I'm super excited for stuff that's going on in Melbourne right now in comedy. They got a lot, and even just in this past year, like it's expanded and grown so much, and there's still a couple things that are like in the works down there that I'm really excited to see once they're able to announce like what they're doing.
yeah, they're like the East
Excited
Coast
to.
of Austin, the Florida Austin. So it's pretty awesome.
It's going to be interesting because like I think well I can't get into too much details, but I think that there's going to be potential for a big boom for East Coast comedy in the next year or so. I think there's some real good things coming.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And so, what are some of your favorite comedy specials and comedy record albums?
So I don't have a like deep or like long history of like stand up comedy as far as like being a fan. So I've done is really just like in the past couple of years, like really gotten into it. So a lot of my stuff is more like newer stuff. But with that being said, uh, Patton, let's see, well, Mark Maron's Thinky Pain, I think is what it was called, is one of, I'm terrible with names, by the way, so don't don't knock points if I get the names slightly wrong. Um, I really enjoyed that one. Patton Oswalt had one that came out in, I think, 2020 or 2021 that I really, really enjoyed. It was one where he was talking about he had this like big long thing where he's talking about his daughters and how he became like a My Little Pony fan. And it's fantastic. Like just the whole story that he tells, and then he goes and it's it's for nerds. It's nerd comedy. Patton Oswalt, but it's fantastic. Pete Lee's Tall, Dark, and Handsome, I really enjoyed. Robert Mack had a special that I just watched recently. It's like I think it's like on YouTube. It's like 40 minutes. He's a very cerebral comic that I enjoy a lot. Um, I'm trying to think of. Uh, Ari Shafir's Jew was fantastic. That feels weird to say it like that, but and I haven't watched it yet, but I want to watch. I'm excited for Shane Gillis's special that just came out. I've seen clips from that. That looks really fun. Um, and I'm forgetting like a lot of stuff too because like lately I just really haven't made time to watch specials because I know there's like so many like good classic ones that I want to go back and watch, but I just haven't made the time to sit down and do that yet.
For sure.
What about you, man?
Oh man, I love like my main influences are like Eddie Murphy and Richard
hmm
Pryor and like
hmm
Rudy Ray Moore. Those are like my three amigos, my musketeers, and that's what shapes me to be like such a dirty comic. And it's
hmm
just I just love it just to like because everyone else tells me like you seem so nice and quiet and reserved and a gentleman off stage. Then when you go on stage, you're like the filthiest like guy ever. So I
hmm
just love separating the two, from the art from the artist, and just like
hmm
just saying random
Well,
things.
I don't know if this is true. I've heard that Eddie Murphy was very reserved off stage.
Oh,
I don't know if that's true or not, but like I remember reading that at some point, and I thought that was because he's very animated, energetic, um, high energy comic, and so kind of the idea of him just being kind of quiet when he's not on stage, it's like I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know if I believe that. I haven't really looked too much further into that, but it's an interesting idea if true.
for sure.
Uh,
I don't know. Just whenever I'm at a mic or a show, I'm like always in the zone. I'm always like hi, goodbye, and I don't
mhm.
get to talk to folks like this. Like it's just I don't know why. I just I'm not much of a talker. I'm like the
Well, there's
type. Oh, I'm just the type that's like, hey, if you talk to me, I'll respond kind of thing.
mhm.
I don't provoke conversation, I guess.
And yet you interview people on a podcast.
Yeah, I just
uh,
it's the journalist in me that has. I just
mhm.
love interviewing comics. It's just my favorite thing. Yeah, get in the
Yeah,
mind.
there's a lot that goes on, like in the middle of a show, it's like busy, and unless it's like a place like the Nog where half the people are hanging out outside, uh, there's just either, if you're busy, like you got a lot of traveling that you do, you're hopping from show to show, so it's harder to hang out for long periods after a show, and hang out with people. So I get that. I have a problem where because me and my buddies, we go out of town to hit all these open mics, like in Orlando, Jacksonville, Melbourne, um, and what we should do is go try to get on the mic early and then drive back, so we can actually get some sleep at night. But what we end up doing instead is, like, we're like the last people to leave, and we're like an hour and a half away from home, but we're just hanging out until like 1 or 2 in the morning at the open mic or after the show. It's like, even last night, like after the show at Madcaps, I was hanging out in the parking lot until like 1 in the morning, hanging out with the comics. The show ended, like 3 hours ago.
Indeed. I'm like a hitman. I go in and do my job and get out. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm like Brett the Hitman Hart. Stress the Hitman Hart, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh man. And so I've seen, like, Mark Maron's like one of my favorite people. Like, I love his
Mm-hmm.
interviews, and I love seeing him on like Reservation Dogs. Like, it's like he was awesome on that show. And speaking of, like, what are your favorite sitcom sketch shows and comedy films?
Ooh. Let's see. Community is definitely probably number one. Um, 30 Rock and The Office are, classics. I think one that hasn't gotten a lot of attention from, I mean, it's like pretty popular, but I think more people should watch it, is The Good Place. I think it's not only like hilarious, but it's also very thought provoking and philosophical. Um, and let's see, film wise, The Big Lebowski was like my favorite, probably, film of all time. Um, Super Bad was very influential for me when that first came out, um, as well as what was the other one that there was like a whole string of films that came out there, but there was like Super Bad and there was one other film, which I guess it must not be that great because I can't remember what it is. Uh,
There's like Knocked
but
Up, and there's like
then
this, like, Knocked Up. This is 40 Funny People. Like, I don't know, just like Judd Apatow
oh,
films are pretty good.
mhm. I can't not say Arrested Development. I gotta make sure I put Arrested Development on that list as well. Um, and I'll say a fun one that's like a recent one that I highly recommend. It's on Hulu. There's only 3 seasons and it got canceled, but it's really, really great show. It's called The Great. It's a satirical look at Catherine the Great, and it's like a British comedy, very funny. And also slightly historical, not very, but it follows the general story of her coming into power.
Sweet.
So
And
there's a
sketch
couple things.
and sketch shows.
Sketch shows, Monty Python, of course, and all of the Python movies. I love all of that. Annoyed that the series is only sporadically available on streaming, because that's one of the ones that I'll go back and watch over and over again. That's probably, I would say, like kind of a big influence on some of my ideas, with what I try to do in sketches that I'm working on, that I'm writing, things like that. As I like to, because their stuff was just so stream of consciousness, abstract, absurd, in the way that they formatted their series, sketch to sketch, and within sketches even. And so I like just that general idea of trying to break, unspoken rules of things, and really play around with like meta, and breaking the fourth wall. And it's hard to kind of succinctly express what I'm trying to say, I think, without feeling like I'm rambling.
For sure. And let's see, if you can go on tour with any comic, local and internationally known, which comics would you like to go on tour with?
With anybody, I would say Dusty Slay, but I feel like we look a little similar, so I wouldn't want to draw the comparison, so to speak. But I love all of his comedy. I should have included him in that list of favorite comics as well. I think Dusty Slay would be a lot of fun. It's hard to so like the thing is, like, a lot of the comics that I would really like to go on tour with aren't touring comics yet necessarily, or they're not like touring headliners or anything like that. So I don't want to name those people because I don't want to be weird about it or whatever. But as far as I don't know, I guess I don't really have like a wish list in that sort of respect of like the big guys. I got people that it'd be fun. Like I think I don't know if my style would mesh with it, but I like Phil Hanley a lot. Like I think it'd be a lot of fun to do shows with him. He seems like a really fun, from what I've seen on social media. He seems like a really cool, really fun person. That'd be kind of fun to hang out with him. Pete Lee again. I think he seems like a really cool hang, and is a very funny comedian. It's hard to. I don't know. It's an interesting question. I haven't really thought about that too much.
Indeed.
Oh, you know what? Maria Bamford would be another one. She seems like I like her style. I like how crazy all of her premises and just I don't know, her act in general is really awesome. So I would imagine that she'd be a lot of fun to do shows with.
Heck yeah, good stuff. And so let's see, we're at the 1 hour mark, so I'll keep you for 15 more minutes or less. Is that
Oh,
all
sure,
right?
sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
sounds
whatever you
good.
want to do.
Sweet. And so, if you can get roasted by 5 comedians, top 5 dead or alive, which comedians would you like to get roasted by?
Well, definitely Donald Evans would be, Florida's funniest from last year, I believe, 2022, right?
Yep.
Because I've seen him do a lot of roasts, and he is phenomenal. And so I think he would. I think he would be. I think he would have some hilarious things to say. Um, let's see, who else. I'm trying to think of like maybe more well-known people. I don't know who like the big roast comics are. I don't really watch a lot of roast comedy. Um, hmm.
They pick your friends because they know you the best.
Yeah, I could do that. I could just do that. There's a couple people who aren't comics that I would love to get roasted by because they're actually just good at roasting people. So I've got a couple of my friends, Joe and Taylor, that nobody would know, but if they ever see this, then hey, now you know. I think you're good at roasting. But we'll say Florida comics, like the Florida comics. I think Billy Swift would be a fantastic roaster, and I think he'd have some really funny. He'd come up with some pretty funny stuff. I bet Ants Rants because we know each other a little bit. We've done shows together, so I bet he would have some really good stuff. How many? What did you say? 5? How many did I? What have I got? 3 now.
I think that works because there was like Donald, Billy, Ants Vance, and like your 2 buddies that do stand up. So that works out for me.
My 2 buddy. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So we could go with that. There's other people that deserve to be on the list as well, but we can only do 5, and those are the ones I thought of. So sorry to all the other people.
No worries. And so if you can, where do you see your comedy journey in the next 5 years?
What's that?
Where do you see your comedy journey in the next 5 years?
What do I see it doing? Hopefully still happening. No, I don't know. Like, cause I have a couple things that I'm working on that I can't talk about yet. So I kind of have two competing ideas right now, I guess is what I can say. Um, one, like I really like the idea of like New York comedy. I would like to go and like go to New York. I think eventually, potentially try to make it there if that's possible. So that's kind of like one idea. But I've got a couple of things in the works that could potentially be pretty good for Daytona comedy and the Daytona scene, as well as like the surrounding areas in Central and North Florida. Um, so depending on how those things go in 5 years, I could see myself still being based out of Florida and hopefully being maybe at like a feature level. Maybe one of those people that I'd like to tour with will go on tour, and maybe I'll get lucky and they'll ask me to do a couple dates or something. I don't know. It's hard to say because 5 years is a ways away, and I'm still kind of new into the comedy scene, relatively speaking.
for sure. And which other forms of comedy would you like to venture off into?
So hopefully that's a satisfactory answer to that. I don't know.
Yeah, that works for me. Can't wait to see what you come up with in the next 5 years. So, we need all the help we can get in Daytona's and surrounding areas. So, which other forms of comedy would you like to venture off into? You've done storytelling and film, so like improv, sketch. Oh, you've done sketch too. So, I guess which other like improv and acting? I guess.
Well, I've done sketch in the form of just like videos. Like I haven't done like live sketch comedy or anything like that, or improv. I've never done like any actual improv shows, and I'm interested in that because of like Comedy Bang Bang is one of my favorite shows. I love listening to that improv podcast. It's highly entertaining, and some of the other improv comics that I've like watched their shows and stuff like that, like bigger names. And I think it'd be a lot of fun to try that. I don't know if I'd be any good at it, but I figure since I do like Dungeons and Dragons and role playing, and I'm basically play acting in that, and a lot of it is you do have to do some improvisation in a sense. Um, so I think that would be a lot of fun. I've not really dabbled too much in acting, but I would love to be involved in any sort of comedy project, whether it's film, TV, YouTube, whatever. Um,
Awesome, good stuff.
so those things.
Rad. And if you can, let's see here. Which joke, like, what's your favorite joke a comic has written?
My favorite joke that a comic has written. Is that what you said? Like any.
You cut out or you froze a bit. So, we.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you are. You're blinking. So, so, what's your favorite joke a comic has written?
Favorite joke a comic has written. These are tough questions. I had to think of, so because it's really all right. So the hard part is when he is like trying to say like this is my favorite joke of all time, um, and that's tough to try to suss out. But I'll say like a favorite joke that a comic that always makes me laugh is Mitch Hedberg's joke about how he used to do drugs, but he still does them, but he used to do them. It's like, I don't want to do the joke, but
Yeah,
that's the joke. And I just find that little twisty logic that is very fun, and just it always makes me, I don't know, it always that kind of nonsensical logic always makes me laugh.
yeah, it's a good one for sure.
Mhm.
And that joke always comes up whenever I ask comics what their favorite joke is. So,
Yeah,
you got good
I
taste in
mean,
comics.
it's a shame because I can only imagine what kind of incredible material he would have continued to create. It's like he made like insanely good stuff in the short period of time that he was with us. Um, can only imagine what else he might have made.
Yep, most definitely. And so, What experience would you like your audience to take with them after a set is over?
After one of my sets is over,
Hmm.
well, that that Roy is wild, I guess I don't know. That's um I think one of the things that I try to think about is taking like controversial topics and trying to find ways to sort of disarm the topic in a fun way, something that, regardless of what you believe, that you can find and see the humor in what I'm trying to do with that topic. And so I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to impart to people, is to, relax a little bit about some of this something. Obviously there's a lot of like very important things that are happening in the world right now, and they matter and they're important. People should care about them, but there's also a lot of vitriol, a lot of excessive anger and hate and stuff going on out there. And if people would just chill a little bit, they would probably realize that some of these things that they care about aren't really such the big deal that they're trying to make it out to be. I don't know.
For sure, indeed, and
Tolerance. That's what I'm trying to spread tolerance and love.
absolutely. So, what's some? What are your shows coming up?
Well, I'm doing this really cool festival on Thursday. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's called Sareth Fest. It's put on by a friend of mine, Sareth. um, but yeah, no, like I'm really excited about that. Thursday, I'm on the Thursday show. I think I'm on the early show at 8 o'clock. Or not. I'm like, it starts at 8. I'll be on at some point before 10, I guess. And I'm getting this. Like, I've seen the lineup. Like, there's like, just the who's who of Central Florida, and I think you got people from beyond that as well popping in. So a lot of friends that I know, that because the Nog is like a fantastic place to hang out, and like, if you go there for nothing else, go there for the hang. And so I'm excited to see all these people, as well as the people that you've got on there that I don't know yet. Um, so I've got that. That's going to be a lot of fun. I won't be able to hang out Friday or Saturday. I don't know, unless depending on how late you run, because I'm working at Madcaps those nights. But you said you're running till like almost midnight, right?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So I should be able to make it out for like the last hour or two of the show
Cool.
for those. So that'll be cool. I'll get to hang out for those. But yeah, I got that. This Tuesday, I'm gonna do the Moon Room and Area 142 down in the like Melbourne, Cocoa or Satellite. I don't remember the greater Brevard County area. That's what the. So I got those two, and then I got a couple Madcap shows coming up later this month that are always fun. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait till this festival's over because I've been just chilling at home and
mhm.
letting these cook. So, because I know like some of these gigs don't pay, so I'm like, I'm just gonna save my money and produce these things. And then once these are over, I'm gonna go full force again. So I'm like, you gotta get your priorities in order and make sure everyone's taken care
Yeah,
of. So,
absolutely.
man, I can't, and that's why I do these interview series, so I can just can't wait to break out. But uh,
Hmm.
to hold me off until then. And so this next block is it's a secret society of stand-up comics. The stand-up speakeasy is. So with that being said, which comics would you like to see on a future episode of the stand-up speakeasy? And pick five.
Pick five people that 5 people. Have you had Tim on? Tim
Not yet.
Blaylock? Not yet. Tim Blaylock would be. He's my oldest comedy friend, so to speak. We started at the same time, so I always want to shout out my boy Tim. Um, have you had Brian, or you just had Brian Milligan on, I think, last episode? Is that right?
Yep, one of the
Yeah, you
few
just had
times.
him on, so I would. Have you had Matt Glidden on your podcast? He's one of the
Not
Melbourne
yet.
guys. I think you've met him.
Yep, in time. Yep, we'll
Okay.
get him on. Yeah.
So I'd say, yeah. Matt. Um, I just did a show with Joe Lamons, who's out of Winter Park. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to meet him, but I think he'd be pretty cool on here. Um, what's up?
And two more. I think I met Joe
Oh,
like at the
I
mic.
thought you said. Sorry, I thought you'd. So let's see. Two more comics. Let's see. Trying to think of who. I'm trying to think of like out surrounding areas, so it's not just like Daytona people. C. Dillard. Have you talked to C? Have you met C. Dillard yet?
Yep, I've met him, but I haven't interviewed him. So he's and
Oh,
then
okay.
one more to go.
So C. Dillard would be the other one. Would be one of them, and then who else do we have? What about Patrick Luby? Patrick Luby's a super fun hang.
Yeah,
I mentioned him earlier.
cool. I'll definitely interview him too because I haven't had him on either. So I'm going to try and do my best to get everyone on the show. So yeah, so we got some coast to coast comics on here and some one from Poland. So we'll get a
Ooh.
bunch more. So yeah, good stuff. So Roy, thank you so much for being my guest. Is there any final words you'd like to give out to the audience at home?
Just be yourselves, make home movies, and just do what makes you feel good, do what makes you happy, cause no harm.
Awesome. You heard the man. And next up, in about 15 minutes, I'll have a new guest, and we'll see you soon. And be well, take care of each other, and I'll tell you who the comic was after we get off here. So, about the whole